Start talking about this. So it says, how can you use the formula for one measurement to write the formula for a different measurement? So in order to answer that question and really understand this section, we have to understand what we're trying to learn here, and that's literal equations. And a literal equation is an equation with two or more variables. So we have an x and a y, for example, on the first one. Whereas before we just had x's or just had y's, we just had one variable. In this case, we have more than one. So it says solve the literal equation 3y plus 4x equals 9 for y. That means that we're just going to do the same things we've been doing. We're just getting y by itself. We're not going to really get a number answer. We're just going to do as much as we can to get the y by itself, and then we're going to call it good. So how do I do that? What's the first step for that equation? Subtract 4x. Three y equals 9 minus 4x. Okay, the y is not by itself, so what do I have to do now? How do I get the divide by what? 3, right. If I divide one side by 3, I have to divide everything on the other side by 3. So, my final answer, y equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. 4 divided by 3, I keep that 4/3. And that's my answer. Do you understand what I did? I just simplified 9 over 3, and then I couldn't really simplify 4 over 3, so I left that by itself. I can turn that into a mixed number, but can't really simplify it. Questions on that? Okay. Do you understand what it's asking to do when it says solve the literal equation? All right. So this one, I look at it and I think to myself, okay, can I combine like terms? Are these like terms? What makes them not like terms? The z. That separates a like term from a not a like term, correct? So here's my next step, and this is sometimes the confusing part. If I notice that on one side I don't have like terms, but they both have something in common, in this case an x, and that something in common is what I'm trying to solve for, I am going to factor it out. That's the word. That just means pull out what they have in common. So they have an x in common, yes? So I'm going to pull that out. And then I'm going to start a parenthesis, and I'm going to say to myself, what can I multiply x by to get 3x? 3. What can I multiply x by to get 5xz? 5z. Thank you. Some of you are awake this Monday morning. That's great. Okay, so now I have y equals x times 3 plus 5z. Does that make sense so far? Because the y was on the other side already. Sorry, I forgot to write that up here. That's an important thing. Yes.
Didn't you get that would have been just 5x because you don't do anything with it?
Well, it says to solve the literal equation for a y, so
Okay.
or for x.
Well, I didn't look at that part.
Yeah, no, that was my fault. So, does everybody understand how I went from here to here? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now I say to myself, I still need to get the x by itself, but it's being multiplied. And to undo multiplication, what do? Division. You may be tempted to want to distribute, but if you distribute, you're just going to end up with your original again. Okay, and you don't want to do that because that's not really going to help you. So rather than do that, all we did was reverse distribution. We did the opposite of the distributive property. Just like multiplication and division are opposites, factoring and distribution are opposites. So I factored out to get the x by itself, and then I'm going to divide by what I'm multiplying. That goes away. And now I have the x by itself. X equals y over 3 plus 5z. Okay, and I got the x by itself. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Don't know what you did. It wasn't magic, it was math. So if you have questions, let me know. No questions. What do I do on number 1? If you're struggling, I need you to pay attention here because you're going to be tested on this. Yes? Yeah. So the first step is to add x on both sides for number 1. Okay. Now what do I do? Someone else. Yes. Divide by 3. So when I divide by 3, I get y equals 3 plus x over 3. All right. Everybody understand number 1 now? Okay, how do I do number 2? Someone other than the people I've heard from. What do I have to get rid of on number 2 first? Anyone that I haven't heard from? That I haven't heard from? Okay. Well, I have to get rid of the 2x, right? Okay, I know you're half asleep, but you're not dead. So I do need you to pay attention and help me out here if I'm asking for some feedback. Because I can't help you if I don't know who gets it, who doesn't get it. Okay? So, now what do I do? Yes? No, because I need to get this by itself first. So I have to get rid of this, right? So I still have the negative here, the minus. But in order to get rid of this, it's a positive 2x, so I have to get rid of it with a minus 2x. Does that make sense? But I still have a negative 2y. So how do I get rid of that negative 2y? Yeah, divide by negative 2. Perfect. So when I do that, that's gone. I get y equals 5 divided by negative 2. I can just leave that negative 5 halves. Negative 2 divided by negative 2, that's just what? 1. So that's my answer. Y equals negative 5 halves plus x. Is this mumbo jumbo, or do you understand what I'm doing? Okay. I'll do something interesting tomorrow so that we can get up and move around and do something fun. Okay, so what do I do for number 3? Yes. Yep, that's right. Subtract 8x from both sides. Now what do I do to solve for y? Yes. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay. Do 1 through 3 make sense? Because if 1 through 3 don't make sense, 4 through 6 will not make sense for sure. Okay. Nyla's good. What about the rest of you? Yeah? All right. Can I combine these like terms? Yeah. So that one's really, I don't have to do anything difficult. What's 5 minus 4? 1. So that's just x. Can I combine these like, are these like terms, first of all? No. What makes them not like terms? The k. So I see what they have in common. What do they have in common? X. Take the x out. Put a parenthesis. What do I multiply x by to get 2x? 2. What do I multiply x by to get kx? K. How do I get rid of the 2 plus k? Divide. So x equals m over 2 plus k. Questions on 4 and 5? No? Can I move on to 6? All right. So it looks similar, except I have a 3 out here. What should I do with that 3 first before I do anything? Any thoughts? Subtract it. That's right. Subtract it. I don't really care about it, so I'm going to get rid of it. It doesn't have the variable that I want. So if I just see a number out there or something that doesn't have the variable that I'm trying to get by itself, just get rid of it by subtracting or adding, depending on what the sign is. So I'm subtracting. I get 5x minus kx equals y minus 3. Okay, now what do I do from here? I can't combine these like terms, the 5 and the kx, so what should I do? Yes. Factor, yeah, factor what? Factor the x. So what do I multiply x by to get 5x? 5, Miss Nguyen. That's great. What do I multiply x by to get kx? K. Gotta love Monday mornings. Equals y minus 3. Okay. Last step. How do I get the x by itself? Divide. Divide. And that's my answer. Okay, that was a lot, but do you get it now? I'm convinced that about 4 of you really understand what's going on. 4 or 5.